Good evening and welcome to the 12th episode of 3 Minute Thursdays. Last time we covered how Tata Ace disrupted the truck market by creating a micro truck and how it explains the brilliant concept of performance over supply from Professor Christensen. By definition, disruption is a drive to the lower end of the market, which is what Tata Ace demonstrated. Now I was curious why everybody has started referring to any breakthrough innovation as a disruption. And we may have to lay the reason for this at Professor Christensen's feet. In page 25 of his introductory chapter, he lists 24 disruptions which cover almost all the modern innovations in the last few decades. One example being Windows and C++ apps are disrupted by Internet Protocol and Java, he says. Now I believe Windsurf and team didn't set out to disrupt Windows when they created IP, or Bill Joy and team didn't set out to disrupt Windows when they created Java. Something else bigger was going on. I started to call it performance undersupply. I believe it's an exponentially bigger opportunity than performance oversupply. Now unfortunately, performance undersupply is a bottom of the iceberg phenomenon and it is not easily visible and detectable. My co-founder Kumaran has created a technique he calls knowing the unknown to spot such opportunities. Let's take some famous examples. Here is Steve Jobs mocking his competitors' physical keyboards in his 2007 iPhone launch speech. Now, I was a BlackBerry addict for a long time, and if BlackBerry had called me and said, "Sir, you are our loyal customer, would you suggest some improvements?" I would have said, "Please don't do anything, I love that product." Collectively, we as the industry missed the fact that the keyboard was the intimidating factor. Steve Jobs spotted that, exploited that masterfully, and the rest is history. Uber has done something similar. I step out of the building trying to hail a cab. Meanwhile, there is another cab waiting 100 feet away in the next street, but we are both invisible to each other. Using the GPS and payment tech that is already there in the phone, they solved a problem brilliantly. I want to give an Indian example. Zomato is the restaurant menu aggregator. It's okay, but it is only a tip of the iceberg problem. Swiggy is quite amazing. I recently used it and I was surprised by the fact that I got the food much faster than I could have driven the car to the restaurant and brought the food back myself. Clearly, they have done a transformation in the takeaway and restaurant food delivery space. Something quite remarkable what they have done. This is why I say that the iPhone, Amazon, Alexa, Uber, Tesla and Swiggy are not disruptive innovations. I call them extreme pivots. Pivot is a term that I picked up from Eric Ries's Lean startup, and extreme is something that I have been working on for a long time in the form of seemingly impossible problems. When we combine knowing the unknown and extreme pivots, we can create breakthrough innovations. And before I sign off, I want to give you all a puzzle. Uber has solved another bottom of the iceberg performance undersupply problem in the taxi industry. If you know the answer, please chime away in the comments. With that, I thank you all for listening to my coverage of Innovator's Dilemma Part 2.